Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jikook Magic, the place where we explore every moment, every glance, every silence, and search for the meaning hidden between them. Some time ago, Park Jimin once again did something that only he could do. Something simple, yet it shook the entire fandom world. Not through grand choreography or dazzling performances on global stages, but through something much smaller, quieter, and for that very reason, far more meaningful. A live stream on his birthday. No studio set, no theatrical lighting, no crew rushing behind the camera. Just Jimin, sitting calmly, speaking softly, smiling as if looking at someone he's known for a long time. To some, it was just a simple live stream. But for those who have followed Jimin for years, that quiet night carried something different. A personal, almost intimate aura, like a fragment of life not meant for the public, yet somehow shared with the world. At first glance, nothing about that broadcast seemed extraordinary. But Jimin's fans, known for their sharp eyes, noticed things that might escape ordinary viewers. The familiar-looking room, the soft, warm lighting, the floor pattern, the furniture shapes, even the faint reflection in the mirror behind him. And then came the question that echoed across Twitter, TikTok, and Weverse. Was Jimin at Jungkook's house? For some, it was just another playful fandom theory. But for others, every little detail felt like a puzzle piece clicking into place. The gym equipment in the background, the tall wall mirror, the distinct lighting, everything looked strikingly similar to Jungkook's personal gym scene in his vlog. Yet when fans revisited Jimin's old live streams from before his enlistment, the mystery began to unfold. In one of his previous broadcasts, Jimin had indeed shown his private workout room at home, and the layout was almost identical, which meant most likely the birthday livestream was filmed in his own house. Still, the resemblance was too intriguing to ignore, not because they shared a space but because they shared a taste. Both Jimin and Jungkook are known for loving minimalist modern interiors. Clean, monochrome palettes of black and white, tidy spaces with calm, elegant accents. Even their furniture and chairs looked nearly identical. Some fans joked that maybe they shop at the same store. Others whispered more softly, maybe they shop together. But among all the speculation, there was one moment that felt far more human, and perhaps more honest. When the camera shifted slightly, Jimin could be seen watching something on his laptop. A debate about physics and astronomy. A random choice for a global pop star, or so it seemed. But for those who truly knew him, it made perfect sense. Years ago, during a snowboarding trip, fans caught a tiny moment that became a legend in the fandom. Jungkook, with his signature laughter, teased Jimin, who was struggling to keep his balance on the snowboard. "Use science, Jiminy," he laughed. Jimin blushed, looked down shyly, and tried again with that adorably serious expression. Now, years later, on his birthday night, there he was, smiling faintly as he watched a science debate on his laptop. Coincidence? Or a soft echo from the past? A small memory that never really disappeared? In that smile, there was something words couldn't capture. A warmth not born from audience applause, but from memory, from someone who once said, "Use science, Jiminy." For years, Jimin's image has always been associated with gentleness. His soft voice, graceful dance, and that smile that could melt even the coldest walls. But behind the stage charm lies another side, one rarely touched. He's a thinker. Jimin isn't just an artist, wrote a Korean culture columnist in the Korea Herald. He's a thinker who experiences the world through emotion, not through theory, but with a sensitivity that feels almost scientific. And maybe only a few people truly understand that side of him. One of them, without needing to be named, is Jungkook. They grew up in the same orbit, from two awkward teenagers practicing in cramped rooms, to two global stars inspiring a generation. Yet behind all the lights, there's a quietness only shared by those who've walked the same road. Every year on Jimin's birthday, Jungkook always sends his wishes, sometimes publicly, sometimes through silence that speaks louder than words. Sometimes it's just a quick glance on stage, lasting less than 2 seconds, but enough to make thousands of cameras freeze and thousands of hearts stop. Sometimes it's just a midnight message, sent without emojis, without a name. Happy birthday, Hyung. I hope you're happy. Like every year. We may never know if that message was ever sent. But the world has learned one thing about them. Not everything real needs to be announced. A few weeks after that live stream, Jimin once again became the center of conversation. This time for something much more serious. In a short broadcast, he mentioned Jungkook's name while talking about his military service. His tone was calm, his eyes warm. He spoke of how they encouraged each other through difficult times, how those 2 years became cherished memories. But it only took one name to ignite the internet. Comments poured in. He's baiting shippers. Why bring up Jungkook again? He's seeking attention. When, in reality, it was simple. Jimin and Jungkook literally spent almost 2 full years together in the military. They woke up at the same time, ate together, trained together, rested in the same space. It's natural that most of Jimin's memories from that period involve Jungkook. But some people chose to deny that reality, replacing it with a narrative that felt safer to them. When other members mentioned Jungkook, no one complained. But when Jimin did, the world seemed to crumble. This is the exhausting face of double standards, where honesty becomes a threat and simple human closeness is mistaken for scandal. Perhaps this is the beauty and tragedy of their bond, that something so natural, friendship, closeness, warmth, must constantly be proven, explained, or debated. But for two people who have gone through so much together, they don't need to explain anything. They know. The world can speculate, but they know. Love, in any form, doesn't always need a stage. Sometimes it lives in silence, in glances that aren't recorded, in soft laughter during late-night practice, in a message sent without a name. Maybe love is simple. A small candle on a birthday night, a cup of warm coffee, and someone quietly watching you from the other side of the screen. For Jimin, that birthday livestream might have been just a small act of gratitude toward the world. But for millions of fans, that night reflected who he truly is. An artist who chooses simplicity over spectacle, who speaks more with his heart than with a microphone, and who's never afraid to show his humanity. And somewhere out there, maybe Jungkook watched that stream in silence, smiling softly, like someone who knows every second behind that camera. Maybe he typed something, then erased it. Maybe he just watched and chuckled quietly. No one knows, and maybe that's how it should be. Because some things don't need to be said to be understood. In the end, it's not about where Jimin did the livestream or who was with him. It's not about theories, rumors, or lighting analysis. What made that night special was the feeling. A feeling that has grown over years, transcending screens and time. And somehow, every year on Jimin's birthday, that feeling always leads back to one name, Jungkook. If you felt the same, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, so you won't miss the next story. Because in the world of Jikook, there's always something small that holds a big meaning. Thank you for watching, and as always, never stop believing in the little magic between two hearts that understand each other.